back. In yesterday's session, we performed some of the CRUD operations on the products and categories. Specifically, we have created a Google form where user can enter the product details, and we are able to add the product into a database. Similarly, we were able to perform the create operations on the categories. Now, next thing which we have to work on is designing the homepage for admin and store manager. And similarly, and after that, we will perform the edit and delete operations on both the products and categories. So that's the next target, and that's the agenda for today's session. In this particular session, I'll show you, like if you remember, let me share my screen first. So if you remember in the last session, we were able to add the products, and when if we upload a product details file, a PDF file, and we want to save it, we were able to save it. Right, but I want to take your attention to a place where we have made a slight mistake. Okay, and that is, if you remember, this is the code which we have written for the adding a product. And when we were uploading a particular product posture, we are calling it as a product posture for a PDF file. So we were storing its product details URL, and that's how we were storing it. All right. So let me demonstrate a particular kind of error which can come. Anyways, I have tried to run it, and this was the error which was coming. So let me demonstrate it once again. So I've run my application. Okay, and here if I just visit the add product, I have already logged in. So in my the product detail, the admin credentials are already there. Sorry, the store manager credentials are already there. That's why I'm able to access this particular page. And when I'm trying to add, let's say I want to add banana and some quickly I'll add just few of the fields. And let's say that I don't give and I don't want to upload a document file because this particular document is optional for us as per the requirements. uh, I don't want to upload it, and I, let's say, try to add the product. I get something called as an internal server error, and we'll first debug this why we are getting this kind of an error and what all we can do to avoid this. And at the later point, and after that, we'll move to the designing of the admin dashboard. So let's quickly go and see the error which we are getting here. So it says that we are getting an unbound local error. That is, a particular local variable is not accessible where we are accessing it. And this particular error is coming on line number 87. Quickly, we'll go and see what is happening on line number 87. So at this particular point, at line number 87, we see that we are using a particular variable here, and we have already defined that particular variable over here, right? And yeah, there is nothing wrong with it. We didn't upload the file, and since we did not upload the file, this particular product posture, this particular if condition didn't got satisfied, and this variable is not getting declared. So what we can do, we'll just quickly correct this, and I'll just say none. And this is how I'm trying to debug my. This was the strategy which I followed. I look at the error, I go to the line which was giving me the error, and that's how I was able to debug why this particular error was happening. And so I have made this change now. So what happens if we don't upload a particular file here? This particular product posture will be assigned a none because we were not getting any files from the client. And since there was no file, and the product posture is none, so this condition got this was false. So we didn't go into the if loop, and that's how we were not able to assign that. But now we have taken care of that, and now I hope if we save the file and restart the server, we would be able to take care of that. And so this was the error which we didn't take care in the last session. So now I have taken care of that, and I've given you demonstration on how we can actually add a product. So let's send a get request again. Right. Okay, now we got another error. Let's go and see what is the error now. Yeah, and now now I have taken care of that thing, right? The but first error which was coming, which was product underscore detail URL, was in a local variable which was not accessible outside this particular block. So we have taken care of that. The next error is for the SQL Alchemy integrity error. And so what is an integrity error? And this is coming from the SQL Alchemy. So any error which is coming from the SQL Alchemy is because of the something to do with the models.py file. So let's also open the models.py file and look at this particular line number 62 here, right? And line number 62 here, we have specified that product details URL cannot be null. We have said that nullable is equals to false. And so this is the error we were trying to add. If you see here in the SQL query, which is saying, so the none value is for the product details URL, and this particular value we are sending null, but that is not possible. So that is the next thing. And so if I change nullable to false here, I just say, remove this nullable is equals to false constraint here and save my models.py file. Uh, it might work, it might not work. The reason is because this particular model has already been created. So the main.py file, which is here, right? So when we are doing db.create all, this will check, this particular code will check whether the product model already exists in the database. If it exists, it will not check for the constraints that we have made any changes to that. All right. uh, but just saving this, removing this particular file from here and saving it will not might this will might not work. The reason is we need to delete our database. So if you remember in the last session, I was talking about that if we make any changes to the existing models, if I'm adding a new column into the new model in an existing model, or if I remove some constraints or I change the type of the uh, data type of the particular column, then those changes will not reflect into our database. So that's why this integrity error might come, and this will come eventually when you are doing your project, because we might have given we have taken care of all the possible things when we are designing a database and starting with our project, but at later point we might feel a need that I need to add a particular column. And if you just made a change here and then you still get an integrity error, you might get an integrity error or some sort of error. But those changes are not being reflected into your database. The reason is this, which I just talked about. So because of this particular constraint, which is nullable is equals to false, this particular field is cannot put as an empty. That was initially it was a requirement, but I can just simply remove nullable is equals to false. I can just directly remove nullable is equals to false here and save the file. And if I delete my database and run application from start, new database will be created with this constraint removed, and I can add the data. But this is the way to tackle this particular error. But I'm not going to do it because I've already added few categories and a few things in my database. So I'm not going to remove this. But you can do that. You can correct yourself for your project. I hope this is clear. Parav, it's clear, right?
Yes, yes, it's clear.
Okay. So we'll go back and we'll upload some file because I want to add few product before designing the database. Sorry, for designing the homepage, I want to add few data into my database. Quickly, I will add few and one more and add. So now I have added two products for a particular category, which is fruits. I will also add one product for the vegetables so that it is easier, so that we can design our home page better. We have not activated this hyperlink yet. You know how you can do that. So I'll keep that for you. I will leave that for you to do it. In the product name, we have added apples and banana. So let's quickly add items, description. Okay, so now I have added the products which are required for me. Now I will work on the designing of the homepage for the admin side. So if you remember last time for designing our homepage here in templates, we have segregated. So there was this home.html file here, and we did some sort of conditioning with the help of if blocks in Jinja to redirect it to various templates. So we were using the include keyword, which is coming to us from Jinja, and we have created three separate HTML files. One is admin underscore dashboard.html, another was customer underscore dashboard.html, and similarly store manager dashboard. And we have included those. So include is what it does is it takes the code from the particular HTML file and it will just do a paste over here. Basically this is one file which is being rendered, but it will just do copy pasting from a particular file which we are trying to include. uh, and so we have done three conditionings here. Now based on whoever user logs in, we can redirect it to either admin dashboard or customer dashboard or store manager dashboard. That's up to us now. So for admin dashboard, we'll come and design our admin dashboard for now. So in admin dashboard, what we need to show to the users. So first of all, what we are trying to show is all the products which a user has been added. Uh, for now, in my application, that's my requirement, and that is that I want to add all the products and the categories, and I want to section them based on the categories. So that's what my uh, objective is with the admin dashboard. You can you can call a statistics or summary page as the admin dashboard, but that's what my objective is, what I want to do with my admin dashboard. I want to show all the products and the category which have been added, and I'm providing the function option to edit or delete on basically on my admin dashboard itself. So for that, uh, we can use we can directly use some of the cards which are available. And if I go to the bootstrap documentation, if you go at the content, or let's say you go to the components, and just try to go through these of the components which are being provided to us by the bootstrap. But my focus is on the card. So this is how our cards would look like. So basically, instead of the image, we are not uploading an image. Instead of the image, I'm gonna display the uh, product name, product description, price, and stuff like that. And also, instead of the button go somewhere, I will give a button called as an edit and delete, and this would be one of my products. And I'm gonna display such all the products like this. And so this is you can look for various options which are being provided by the bootstrap if you want to upload, if you want that kind of display for you. I'll just take this particular block and I'll use this to design the front end or the admin dashboard. So here initially I'll create a one div block which would be with the class called as container fluid. All right, and I'll also give some of the margins from on the top margin. Let's say I'm giving it margin 2. Okay, this is the thing here. Inside this thing, first of all, okay, let me open this thing. This would be easier to visualize. What was the spelling of that? EXCIL draw. All right, so let's say this is my admin dashboard. Certain amount of code has been area has been taken care by our navigation bar, but here I want to design it like this. That is, let's say category 1, giving a button for add, sorry, edit and delete. For this is for the categories, and below that I'm showing all my products here, like this product 1, product 2, and similarly I'll just repeat this kind of a code, and for I'll do this, repeat this for another categories as well. So this is how my admin dashboard would look like. And since admin can only edit categories and not the products, in the product section here I can just show the product details. Show product details. And so this would be a kind of a button for after displaying all the products. So I hope you have gotten overview picture of how what kind of design we're going to make for our homepage. So with that, and so if you see here, a particular code is this particular thing, this particular section, right? This particular portion of our page is being repeated for how many categories we have. So this and the code which is responsible for displaying this particular one block, this is being repeated. So we'll use for loop, for block which we have used for just the categories when we were displaying the categories in the drop down button. Arav, you're getting what I'm trying to say here? Are you able to understand?
Yes, I am getting it.
Okay, so that's what I'm trying to do. So, but for that, what I will do is I will use a similar, like the way we have used for the when we were displaying the categories, we'll use a for block, and we are getting the categories. That we were getting the products, we are getting the categories as well. Category or category in categories. Uh, let's add an heading and also class as tech center. And since I told you, right, so this categories is coming like this category is a list of objects. So now category would be one object of the category class which we have created in models.py file. So we can access the name of the category by just simply saying categories.name. Below that we'll also can add a paragraph, or let's say a paragraph tag with the something called in category description. Category dot description. Okay, and below that I can just also provide few buttons. And these are the buttons which I'm providing. Since right now these are the hyperlinks, but I can change the display of these hyperlinks to a button by just saying btn buttn button btn primary. So these are the class which are coming from the bootstrap. You can look for it, but I'll just use that. And yeah, okay, there is this thing called as an class is equals to row, and inside the class I will define few columns. Let me write the code and then I will explain it. Just let's take it 8 columns. Have I explained this row and column thing before? Arav, do you remember this? Or do I need to explain this row column, but I'm trying to, the class which I've written over here?
I think you had explained this in the previous sessions, I think.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll just give a quick overview. So the entire screen which we see, the UI, the screen which is visible, the browser screen, is being divided into 12 columns. Okay, and out of these 12 columns, I'm taking 8 columns to display the content which is into this particular block, and the rest of the 4 columns I'm using to display the content which I will be putting it here. So you can think of right now is that my entire screen has been divided into two parts, two columns basically. One is taking the length of 8 sections, like one is like a twice the second one. So that's how the display has become, and this row and column thing is coming from the Bootstrap. If you want to know more about this, you can look at the documentation. But yeah, I just put this content here, and similarly, I'll pick this content. Okay, I don't need now. Step look, I pick this content and I'll put it here. Okay, and apart from these things, now I want to display the products. So as we have seen in the here, we have done this particular portion, but now we want to display these cards as well. So for that, uh, I'll just put an uh, code to display products. We'll come to that part later. PRODUCE products. Yep, but and then I can close this thing. So this code I can now, after this, I can just close the end for. All right. And yep, let's visualize this, how this is coming out for us now. Let's save this particular file. Also, we'll create one of the endpoints to display the admin dashboard, or we have already have this admin dashboard, but we need to make some changes now. And that is in our because we need to send this categories information. So if you see, if you look at your routes.py file, which is the route which is responsible for displaying the home page, we are not sending any data here at this particular point. It's just saying that home.html, it's render that home.html file. But this home.html file do requires the data, which is the categories variable which has been used in admin dashboard, right? So this variable is not there in home.html, it's not accessible here. So for that, what we can do, we need to pass this from, let's use go to the routes.py file. What we can do is if we check if uh, user underscore email, that's the key which we have given in session. If it's there in the session, uh, we will return the same thing, render template. We'll do render template, but along with the home.html template name, we also will pass categories. So spelling correct. CAT, that's spelling I've used in admin dashboard, right? Let me copy this just to avoid sort of errors. Okay, and now let's save, and let's go to the dashboard for now. Let's enter. We're not able to see anything at the moment. Are there any errors? Okay, now why no errors? Because I've logged in as an store manager, not the admin. So for that, I'll just do a logout once, and I log in as an admin. Yeah, admin dashboard is visible, but the rest of the part is not visible to us. Uh, After making the changes, I also did not run my server. So for that, let's stop the server and rerun it. Now it's running. Let's refresh the file. Yes. Now we are getting the fruits. We are getting the categories name is being listed as, and we are also able to see the uh, description of the categories. Uh, Also the buttons are also visible to us. Now we'll add the you can for the design part you can look at the bootstrap right now and just wanted to explain you the concepts. I'm not much more focusing on the UI part of it, just the functionalities I'm focusing on, but you can go and look at the bootstrap documentation to uh, get the idea about it, or you can improve your UI. But the more focused should be on the functionalities. Your functionality should be working properly. So we were able to get the products. Now here comes the important part of the relationships which we have defined. Okay, let's say that you want to display all the products as well. One thing you will do, that is you will come here in your rouse.py file. The way we have passed the categories, we can also pass the products, like just simply saying products is equals to products, whatever the class name we have given, product.query.all. That's what we can do. However, there is another way, because if you see here in our models.py file, here we have defined a relationship with the name as products. So for a particular category, which all products are there, they can be accessible by saying category.products. So at this particular point where we are going to write the code for displaying the products, we can access all the products by simply saying category.product. Products, I think. Yeah, that's the name we have given in models.py file, the products. So we can access this thing, and it is like a list of objects of the products. We'll use this. So this is the advantage of defining the relationships, is one of the advantage that which will come as handy. We don't have to complicate our code at this particular point in our controller. But somewhere, if you feel like you need explicitly just the products and you don't want to display the categories along with the products, then you can query. That's an alternate way always available to us. But for me, this has eased my code. So it has eased me this thing. And now what I will do, I'll run the again. So it's like a nested for. Uh, for each of the categories, I'm displaying all the products. So I'm now iterating over the products. So it would be for product in category dot products. All right. And now I'll define, okay, this for has been end here. So the indentation should be correct. Let me correct the indentation. And also I'll close this end for. All right. So the code which is responsible for displaying the products can come here. I'll just go to the Bootstrap documentation to copy the code which I just highlighted. Copy. And I paste it here. So we don't have any images. So I'll remove this part. If you have images for the products, if you're taking the images, you can display that, but I'm removing it. For the card title, I'm showing the product name. So I'll use these curly brackets to fetch the details of the name of the products. So what is the, in modelers.py file, we are getting just the name. Okay. So it would be product, this particular product dot name. And we can also add product dot description. All right, we'll also give a button to say show more details. And let's save the file. We'll restart our server. Let's come back to the home page and see how things are visible to us now. All right, so if you see, the fruits and apples and banana are visible to us. and the way we wanted to display has been visible, though this is not coming into the columns. So what we can do here, uh, mm, that if I remember, this is the thing which I can use. I have to look for the documentation on which is the way to, so that I can display them on, you know. Yep, I can take help of this thing, a dev block with the classes row, closing the dev tag for the class row, and giving this should be outside the for loop. Yeah, and giving this the name is column. Let's say we want to display only the three products in one row and then the next row, so we can give for, or just say call three. Save the file. Okay, we need to restart the server. And now refresh. These are visible. If you want to add margins, you can also add the margins. Very simple to add the margins here. We can just say m, let's say we want to add margin of, let's say 2. Okay, restart the server for it again. This way we are able to add the all the category, we are displaying all the categories and the products associated with it. And we also take the advantage of the, what you say, the relationships, so that we don't make a complicated logic here in our front end. So with this, we have some sort of very basic admin dashboard. You can customize it the way you want it. It just you are going to write a few lines of HTML code using few Bootstrap or CSS. That way you can customize your dashboard. Uh, and the content, basically the information which you are bringing, the logic is if there is a repetition in the content which you're taking, which you're fetching from the database, you can use for block. If you want to do some sort of conditioning based on various information, either on the sessions or just you just want to display, so you can use if else block for that. And if you want to segregate your code into different files, you can use include, or you can use template inheritance. That's the complete all thing about Bootstrap. Sorry, that's all thing about Jinja. You can customize it. You can just look for the documentation and see which thing works for you the best. And it the with this, now we'll go and look at how we can make these edit and delete functionalities work better. All right, and so here is one thing, right, which I wanted to focus on. That is, if you are clicking on this particular edit button, you should just delete the fruits and not other vegetables. Similarly, if you're clicking on this particular delete button, it should just delete vegetables as a category on along with its associated products, but it should not affect the fruits. So we have to create our endpoints such a way that they are specific to a particular category. So in URL, we're gonna pass the category ID as well. So you can think of it like, let's say, let's first work for the functionality of app.route. Let's first focus on how we can delete a particular product. So we'll say delete, and with that we will be passing a particular product ID or a particular category ID. So we can say delete category, okay, and we will be passing an integer, and that would be the category ID for us now. So when whatever I've inputted here, like the these greater than and less than symbol along with that int semicolon id. This to ensure that this is a dynamic thing. It will change. So this particular route will hit if we are passing delete category /1, delete category /2. Also, it will come to this particular point. Now, this category ID we will pass as an argument to the function which we'll be defining here. Delete category, and the function name is category ID. All right. And now, whatever category ID we want to do, we have the access to this particular endpoint. And we can write all our functionalities. The way we have been writing the operations here, we can write it. So first thing which we want to do, if a user clicks on a delete button, or it passes its category ID through this particular URL, we should make sure that this particular ID exists into our database. That's the validation we do. So let's first, like always we do the validation. We'll check that if and first of all, this particular functionality of deleting a category is just with an admin, right? So if admin is not there, for now I'll just remove this thing. If admin is not there, then this operation is not allowed. Next thing which we want to do is let's first query a database to get the category information. Category is equals to category dot query dot get. As we have discussed in the get function, we just pass the primary key. This will fetch the information. If it's not there, if this object is not there, that means that the category ID is invalid. Also, now if all the information, if the category ID is valid, that means that we want to delete it. So we can simply say db.session.delete category, and this is the particular variable which I'm passing here, and so this is an uh, object of the class category. And after deleting it, I'll just commit my sessions and I'll again redirect it to home page. So this way I would be able to delete the category. Let's go to the admin dashboard to see how we will pass the hyperlink here. Because we also need to, this particular URL, it should be dynamic based on which category you want to delete. And so for that, since this particular category variable is an object of class categories, this also has an access to category ID, right? So here when we are defining the URL for, basically when we are defining using URL, we can use URL for to dynamically generate the the path which is there. So that would be, and this is first argument would be the function name, and the function name which we have defined here is delete category. I'll go there, I'll define the delete category here, and in the second argument I can pass and as a second argument to URL for, I can pass category dot id. All right, so now different blocks. So this particular block is generating just one category. So if it is get rendered for the second category, this value will change, and so the hyperlink that this particular button will be redirecting to will also change. Did you understood this particular part about the
Yes,
dynamic
yes.
URL? Okay. Let's save the file. Also, let's save this particular file and see restart the server, and let's go and refresh the page. Okay, we have some errors. Let's try to debug those errors now. URL4 takes 2 arguments, but 3 were given. Okay, and this is here with respect to this. Am I doing something wrong here? Category underscore ID. is equals to, so this would be like a positional argument. Here I'll just copy this thing and define it here, save, and see if this works. It's I will refresh the page. Yeah, we have refreshed the page. Now let's you focus at this particular point, because when I would be hovering over the delete button, I'll get a URL here. So let's hover over delete. So you can see right at the bottom left, you see the delete category /1 is showing. And when I hover over the second button, the category is being dynamically shown over here. So let's say that I want to delete this particular vegetables category. I click on delete, and the the category has been deleted successfully, right? And you can check your database as well. We were able to successfully delete the vegetables and also the products associated. So if I refresh the page, the product was not able, we were not able to delete the product, but the category got deleted. The problem with that is, so if you want to delete both the things, like if you want to delete the product as well, there is something called as an let me open the code here in models.py file. When you are defining these, right, these foreign keys, let me also go to the documentation to easily get the code. So on Cascade, on CA Cascade, how we can use on delete Cascade with the help of SQLAlchemy. So I'm just going to documentation, and it will take me to the cascades. Okay, some problem with the internet. We'll wait. So when you're defining these relationships, right, you can use these cascades as an events. So when we are using this relationship at here, I can specify cascade is equals to all, or so these are the very cascade can have a different uh, meanings. You can just go to the see what all these options you can pass over here. So you can have all, delete often, save, update, delete, delete often, merge, and all these options are there. You can, based on your requirements, you can look at the SQLAlchemy documentation and see what it means when you are passing all, or when it say delete often, or when what happens when you say it's delete. So but delete cascade means that when we delete our parent object, uh, its related child will also be marked for deletion. That means that if we just say delete, it will delete all other all the child for this particular relationship as well. However, if we say delete often, which we were doing here, so what delete often does is, uh, it will just delete just one part of it. It will not delete the child's. And you can read this particular documentation on various options which you have for the cascades. And based on the cascades you define here, the details will be deleted that way. Is this clear? Cascades?
Yes, yes, it's clear. But I have a small query.
Yeah, please tell me.
Uh, the portion of this linking category to that edit and delete part, is there any alternate way also as we can do it, or is it the only method we can do that thing?
No, so one what you can do here, right? So let's say you are in routes, right? So you want to delete this particular category, right? So first you can, before deleting the category, you search the products. Products is equals to, query your product table and get all the products which are associated with the category ID. You run over this particular list product, and you delete the products as well. This is an alternate way if you don't go and if you don't want to associate yourself with these relationships.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yes.
All right. So we'll save this file, and I'll remove the cascades for now. It's just I want to put these cascades on the plate. But this is another way you can make sure that you're deleting all the products which are associated with a particular category. Okay. And I'll comment rather than deleting that thing. I'll just, make a copy and I'll comment it saying cascades.
So, sir, we can use that similar approach in our quiz app too. Means deleting the functionality of that questions and quizzes. We can use this similar approach too. Na?
Correct, correct. You can use this similar approach there.
Okay.
This one or the cascades. If you get comfortable with the relationships, that's nice.
Hmm.
But if you feel like it's a bit complicated, you can use this particular way to delete your quizzes, questions, and stuff like that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Now, since we have taken care of the delete as well, now the only part which is remaining is let's go to the homepage, the edit part over here. And the way we have done it, like the way we have done the delete functionality for categories, the similar code, very similar code would be for the products, and very similar code would be for the edits as well. Okay,
Yes.
so I'll just show it for editing the categories. You can apply the same logic to the products as well. So we'll not go into that detail. All right.
Yes. Yes.
So let's define app.route. Okay, and app.route. Now the next route we are creating is for edit category. Just give me a second. Just give me a minute. All right. So when we are displaying the edit category, we need to get the details which we want to get the updated details for this matter, right? So if we are going to update the name, we need to feed that. So basically we need to render a form as well, which will be responsible for taking the data, uh, updated data for a particular category. So either what we can do is we can create a new HTML template, very similar to add category. The way we have created an add category page, right? We can similarly create an page for that and then update it. And that's what I'm going to do it in this particular here. But there is an alternate way also, and which I'll just highlight here, and that is the use of modals. And you can use these modals like this. So how things work like this. So you see, right, there's this particular button for, let's say this is a particular button for edit. You click on this particular button, form like this will pop up on the same screen, and you can enter the details, and you can use the button, click on the button save changes, and it will save the information for you. And that's the one way, which another way you can do. And in order to do that, you need to focus on two things, because that is one thing would be there is this particular code for this particular button which is launching the model, and the second code is the template, so the code which is responsible for this the template which is being displayed at this particular point. So you see the title, the form element, and everything you can pass in this particular section, which is basically the responsible for modal. And here the thing you need to focus on, if you're using the modal, right? And that's one challenge people face when they are using modal, is that when you are rendering a particular home page, there are multiple templates, multiple categories into your page, and for each you will be having a button which is responsible for displaying for editing that particular category itself. So you can think of, right, there would be a code which is like there would be the same code will be there for multiple categories. And when you do that, uh, so there is when you are clicking on the button should know for which modal this particular button has been triggered. So in order to do that, you need to focus on this particular thing, and this is very important, the data target over here. So this data hyphen target attribute tells you to which modal to trigger, and that is, so this particular id and this data target should match. And here, because you have multiple categories, you can have a customize, like you can take a help of filters from Jinja to generate this particular id dynamically, right? So this thing you need to focus on. You, the rest thing you find out yourself how you can implement this, but this is one way you can implement it. I'm just putting it on the plate so that if you want to implement such functionalities, you can do that. And the important thing is this id and this data target should be same for your models. Rest, you can just go through the documentation and figure it out. And the way I'm going to implement is a much simpler way. That is, I will create a new template here, and basically I would be renting a different page. So I'll create a new template here stating edit category dot html. And when I do that, I'll take the code which is there in my add category, because the template and form will be similar. So I'll control C. I'll bring the code to edit category here. Now I have the code, and instead of add category, this particular is for edit category. And as you know from the delete category perspective, we also need to pass an argument which category id we are deleting. So basically the url will be changing, right? So here edit category, and also we need to pass an argument called as category id. And you know the reason why we are doing like this, so I'll not focus that much here. Hmm. And how do we get this particular information? We need to tell. So there's a big question mark how we will get this category id on this particular template. We'll see how we can do it, but for now you think about it. I'll go to the routes.py file and see what I'm going to do here. So let's say, so when we are rendering a page, there would be a get request, there would be a post request. So when I click on a hyperlink, I'll be sending a get request. So here I'll define edit category function, and I'm taking the category id from the url. And so if same thing first, that you can check for the admin thing. I'll remove this code. First I'm checking whether I'm authorized user, that is I'm admin, and then I'll fetch the information for the category. If it's not a category, then it's a validation request. We'll redirect it to the home page. The basic data validation thing we have done. Now the next part comes is what happens when we receives a get request. The objective when we receive a get request is to display this particular template, which is edit category. We'll say return render All right. So this is the thing which we gonna do. But here you come here and you see, right? When you would be clicking on a submit button, it should your server should know which category ID this information has come from. That is when we are sending the post request. So now if your user goes to this particular URL slash category ID, the user will display this particular form itself. It may have the category information, may not have category information. Right now, the code we have written over here is when this particular template is being rendered, we don't have the category information. So here we don't know which category for this form has been opened to update which category. And so if you will click on submit button, a server does not know which category to update. It also should have a component of category ID, which category we want to update, right? So for that, I thought of using URL for, and I was thought that since I can use the same endpoint as here, the way we have done it for delete category, that so I can specify this endpoint and you can use it. That's the objective. But when I'm rendering this particular template, after at this particular point, I don't have information for the category ID, right? So when I'm doing that, along with this category ID, I can send the category ID itself. Category ID is equals to the category ID which I received from the URL. When I'm navigating to the next page, I also send the same category ID. So it's like if you're so you can think of it like this, that you have a page A, you come to page A, and in URL you receive some information. Let's say that you receive the category ID to page A. In this particular page you have the access to it, but when you clicked somewhere and you went to the next page, page B, you should have and but when you came to the page B, that category ID was lost. So some way you need to pass the URL from here to this particular template as well. When you are rendering the template, you need to pass that information, so that if you want to go from page B to page C, that category ID is with you. So in order to do that, we can specify category ID. Okay. So this way, when you are defining pages, like when you are defining the links between page A to B to page A to B, B to C, and C needs from which URL, from uh, which URL for the page A, the category ID was required in page C. So you need to pass this information, pass this data from page A to page B to page C, and that's what is happening here. So here we need this category ID. So through this particular template, I'm passing that category ID here, right? And this is one way. Now, why I'm not doing that? The reason is when I'm displaying these category names and descriptions, I want these input box. So when we render these templates, you said that the fields was not pre-filled. So when I'm rendering this particular page, I want that my input box should be pre-filled. And in order to get those pre-filled, this is a way to send this category ID. Instead, what I will do is I will say I will send the entire category object. This category object which is there, right? I'll send that entire object here. Now, I needed the category ID, but that is there in this object category, and I can use from there. So the thing which was there, right? I need to send this data across various pages. That's what I'm now also doing, but the way I'm doing it is different now, because there is another requirement for me on this particular page, that I want them to be pre-filled, and in order to pre-fill them, I'm using an attribute called as an value, and I can use category name. The way I've been doing it, I can use the category name here. Also, I can use the category description. All right, this is the change I made in the add category template, and to make my edit template pre-filled. Also, I'm making a change here, and right now I know where I'm getting this category ID from. So it would be category dot id. If I'm not wrong, that's how I've given the models. Yeah, id. Any doubts here?
Yeah, a small query that what would be good approach? Like we should use category object here, or we should go with the category ID? Because I think category object would be a great approach instead of going with category ID.
Yeah, at this particular situation, going with category object would be good approach because we need those information because we want a pre-filled value. But let's say that the requirement at some pages there won't be a require at the some pages the requirement won't be to send a category object.
Okay,
You just need a category ID. At that point, you can think of just sending the category ID.
okay, okay, okay.
The,
Got it.
the emphasis here was to how we can send the data, and there would be a need to send the data across various pages, and that's how we do it.
Okay, okay. Yeah, everything else is clear.
All right, so we'll save it. And now if you click on a submit button, you will be sending a post request to this particular URL. So, okay, here is a thing. Since we have already used these two curly brackets here, we don't need to add a different curly brackets here. That's an error from my part because the entire code is from this entire code is coming from the Python, right? So, and in Python, we don't specify those curly brackets. There's not there. So now when you click on this particular URL, you will be sending a post request, and we have to handle the post request here. So if request dot method is a post request, right? What we need to do first thing is take the data which is being sent through the post request. Take the data. That's what we are going to do now. Name is equals to request dot form dot get name or none. The data validation, the way we have done in adding a category, the same data validation you can check. Name is required. I'll close the brackets. Okay. This data validation is being done. Now we need to make a change. And how we can make a change into a database. It's very simple. We already have queried our category here. We will change the name of the category. Category dot name is equals to name. Okay. Also category dot description is description. So you are whatever the way we have done it, we are just changing the values of those variables, and we'll just say db.session.commit. Okay, this way the changes will be made. I have to db.session category dot, yeah, that's way we can change the details here. But here is one thing, right? This kind of a data validation, think about it. I just put I will put this particular information on the plate. That is, I don't want to change let's say description. So can I just leave the description field empty? Or let's say that I don't want to change the name, I just want to change the description. Can I leave the name description empty and then just change the description? If I do, just give me a second. All right. So if you want to change, if you don't want to change the name, you just want to change the description. Can you leave the name for a name empty and just change the description, or vice versa? So you can put some kind of, you can think about like you're putting some certain kind of conditionals that if name is there, then you change the name. If category is there, you change the category. That if you want to include that kind of functionalities, you can do that. You just need to use some conditionals. You can use if else to maintain that change. But the way to change here is you just change the values of category here and just call it db.session.commit, and this will make a change into your database. And then what you can do, you can just flash messages and saying that anti-direct. uh, let's see if this works. Let's save this thing, also save this thing, and if errors will come, we'll correct it. Okay, come back here, refresh the page. First thing, I need to hover over edit. uh, this edit URL is not working, so we need to correct that, and we'll go for that. We'll go to the admin dashboard. The way we have done it for delete, we need to modify the URL here as well. So we'll use this thing, and let me copy the entire. Okay, I'll just type it. URL for edit category, also category okay, save, restart the server to see the changes reflects, refresh the page. Okay, I hover over edit, I get that click. If I click on edit button, I get redirected to it. Right now I'm getting the category name and fruits, but the description was fruits are healthy, but I'm just getting fruits, right? So what is the problem here? Can you tell me what is the problem here? So I'll just show you the database. In my database, for a particular product, uh, for the particular category, the description is fruits are healthy, but the only thing which is displaying there on my, the pre-filled value is just showing the fruits. The reason for this is this: there are spaces between these two, and when I go to edit category and when I said just specify the value, this thing will be replaced with the fruits are healthy, but there are spaces between them, and so value is equals to fruit would be one thing, and the rest of things will be ignored because let's see if that is visible here. Let's inspect this thing, inspect the page. We'll see the HTML page for it, and so what is being displayed here. Let's click on the description here. So see here. Okay, so you see here, fruit value is equals to fruits is the value which is assigned. Are healthy is there, but they HTML is counting them as in additional attributes. But that's actually not technically. This is entirely is a part of value. So in order to correct that, what we can do is we'll just put the inverted commas and save the file. This will take care of. Let's refresh the page now. Is my server started? Yeah, now that has been taken care, right? And this is the way, if something is not working with your HTML, you can just inspect the page and see what is not working. And let's say that I want to change the description. I submit, and the description has been changed. The category has been updated. All right. So in a similar fashion, you can update your products as well. The things which you need to change. So this was an admin dashboard, and for admin dashboard, you don't need uh, to update. So according to my requirement, the requirements which we specified when we were discussing the problem statement, we said that categories can be updated by admin, but products needs to be updated by a store manager. So according to that requirement, this edit a product functionality should be on your store manager dashboard. But the way we are going to do it, we'll be having a template, and then once we have the template, we can specify these functionalities, and how we have defined it would remain same. It's just that we'll be taking some another kind of information. We need to do all sort of those data validation which we did when we were adding the products. Similarly, we'll do some kind of data validations when we are editing a product. The rest of the things would be remain same the way we have done it for the categories. Do we if you feel like we need to I need to show that to you, I can do that. But since I'm saying that it would be very similar to what we have done when we are doing edit categories, do you want me to go that side?
No, no, it's fine.
All right. So the only part which is remaining according to the functionalities is the search functionality and the graphs, how we can do that, right? When I'm saying search functionality and graph, from the functionality perspective, though our grocery store had a second side where customer side which we are not working on, because it is very similar. So if you come to the customer side, what you need to do, you need to display all the products and categories, and you need to give a button called as buy or add to cart. So this would be very similar to the way we have displayed it for the admin, right? When it comes to the adding a product to the cart, it is like when you are performing a create operation on the cart table. So that is also similar. You will be taking some kind of an input. You will be adding that, similar to we have done called as db.session.add for categories as well as the products. So the front end part, so the customer part is very similar. It's very repetitive information which we will be dealing with. So since it was just to show how can you think about your project, that's why we are doing it. Just the one side of that is the admin side. You can work on the customer side. The and the next part is just the function from the for me to teach something. The only two things which are left is the generating the summary, basically the graphs and all, and the summary page and the search functionality. We need to implement that. So we'll implement that in next session. Today we'll stop here. If you have any doubts, I will stop the recording. You can ask that particular point in whatever sessions you are doing. So we'll stop the recording here.